Call this meeting to order. February 13th, 2023. Can I get a roll call?
Yes. Mr. Sterling?
Here.
Mr. Thompson?
Here.
Mrs. Ranieri?
Here.
Mr. Smith?
Here.
Mrs. Meeks here.
Chris Arduino, recording secretary.
Troy Yarbrough, superintendent.
Shelley Wagner, human resources.
Michelle Earp, curriculum and instruction.
Josh Rand, business and operations.
All right.
So, good evening, everyone. I'm going to actually turn this over to Ms. Tammy Poole, our principal.
Yep.
Good evening, Dr. Yarbrough and members of the board. Thank you so much for this opportunity to highlight Maple students again. I think I was at the last board meeting as well. But we are very proud of these students, and I've invited Mrs. Noss to join us tonight. She's our Maple librarian, and she has so many good ideas that we've been implementing this year, and this is another one of her ideas. So she's going to tell you about it.
So this year we have started a new position that's called Library Leaders at Maple. This is the first year for that position. We have 5th grade students that are with us tonight. They have been recommended by their classroom teachers. They complete a job application for the position and are interviewed for the position to get them some career readiness skills. Once they have been accepted for the position, they are trained in their position, and their role is to work with our 1st grade students in the library. So they come in after the lesson is completed. They support the 1st graders with technology skills. They support them with finding good fit books in the classroom, in the library to take back to their classroom, and then also just buddy reading with them and enjoying some reading aloud together. So we have several 5th graders that are here with us tonight to do the pledge.
So we have Elijah Radway, Mariana Savit, Callie Feltz, Sophia Ike, and Cy Curry. If you would please stand and join us in the pledge.
Allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
I promise to take responsibility for my learning and my behavior. I will be caring, honest, and respectful. Maple School is a better place because I'm here today.
Yes, it is.
All right. Actually, I'm going to have you all come stand, turn around, face back this way. That way, if the family wants to go to the board, if you wouldn't mind coming around, please.
Come on, board members.
I'm going to get one photo and I'll.
That's because I'm short.
Great job, guys. All right, here we go. 1, 2, 3. Stay there for a second.
All right, good job, guys.
Sophia.
Hello, hello. You guys have a good night.
Have a good night.
Okay. Thank you very much.
You're welcome. Thank you.
All right, can I get
What's the matter?
a motion for approval of the agenda?
Is that where you going?
Motion.
Second. Is she coming with me?
Mr. Thompson?
Aye.
Mrs. Brogan?
Aye.
Mrs. Ranieri?
Aye.
Mr. Smith?
Yes.
Mrs. Meeks? Oh, yes, Mr. Sterling?
Yes. All right. Turn it over to Dr. Yarbrough.
All right, the mission, which is my second favorite next to the pledge, because that's always awesome, right? So the mission of the Harlem Consolidated School District as a vital part of the community is to help diverse learners realize their unlimited potential by providing an educational program dedicated to academic excellence and development of strong character in a safe and respectful learning environment.
Thank you, sir.
Thank you.
Can I get a motion for approval of the board meeting minutes, January 17th, 2023?
Motion.
Second.
That was good, Pete.
Mrs. Ranieri? Aye. Mr. Smith?
Yes.
Mrs. Higgs? Aye. Mr. Sterling?
Aye.
Mr. Thompson?
Yes.
Mrs. Rogan? Abstain.
Turn it back over to Jason Bloom. Dr. Jason Bloom.
So I gotta go grab the families that are out here. One second.
Just get started.
Sure, if you wanna slide in. Yep.
So you guys want to line up straight.
Bunch of hardware.
This way, maybe.
Do I keep going?
Yep, go down a little farther. Right there.
Right?
Okay, right there.
Well, good evening, everyone. We've got a large group in front of us here, but this is an exciting night. We've got two teams that we're recognizing this evening that have obviously accomplished great things in their respective sport. And so first up tonight, we are recognizing our second place state cheer team from Harlem Middle School, which we're really excited to have here with us. And so I'm actually going to turn it over to Coach Susan and Coach Rachel, and we're going to let all these girls introduce themselves as well, tell you what grade they're in, and we'll hear a little bit about their season and all the success that they had. So I'll turn it over to you.
Hi there, I'm Coach Susan Schaefer. I'm the head coach with Harlem Middle School. I've been coaching for about 10 years this year for Harlem District with cheer. We had an amazing season. The girls and guys have all, we've had a couple first place wins and a couple third place wins, and then we ended up our season with a second place state win. So congratulations, guys. I have Coach Rachel. She's my first year coach with me, and say something.
Okay, I am Coach Rachel Stark-Lofton. This is my first year coaching, so I've just been grateful to be able to come along and learn and be able to be along the ride with these amazing athletes. They all done an amazing job this year. I've had Coach Schaefer to kind of help guide me and mentor me along the way. So I'm pretty excited about that, and I look forward to continuing coaching in the future.
Awesome. So
We also have, we have an assistant coach.
Yes, I'm Brianna Schaefer, and I am the assistant coach, also the daughter. I have been cheering in this district for at least more than probably 10 years. I went through middle school, and I am now done with high school cheer. And I have been assistant coaching for them for around 4 years.
Awesome. Very cool. We're excited because obviously this shows us what the future of Harlem Cheer is going to look like for the next couple of years. So, Mr. Rand, make sure we work on a bigger boardroom for all these recognitions we're going to be doing. But real quick, if I could have you each say your name and what grade you're in, so that they can hear that.
Hi, I'm Dominic Floyd. I'm in 7th grade.
I'm Isabella Cabrera, and I am also in the 7th grade. I'm Mallory Hawkinson, and I'm also in the 7th grade.
I'm Emily Brock, and I'm also in the 7th grade.
I'm Kira Kelly, and I'm also in 7th grade. I'm Brooklyn Bailey, and I'm also in 7th grade.
I'm Emerson Swenson, and I'm in 8th grade.
I'm Aaliyah Pendergrass, and I'm in 7th grade.
I'm Desiree Lofton, and I'm in 8th grade.
I'm Tegan Hamilton, and I'm in 8th grade. I'm Janiyah Quinton, and I'm in 8th grade.
I'm Kayleana Boyer, and I'm in 8th grade.
I'm Ava Jackson, and I'm in 8th grade.
I'm Deanna Provenzano, and I'm in 7th grade.
This is a great skill, a great practice to do some public speaking. And so, again, congratulations to all of you on a great season. We look forward to seeing some of you 7th graders back next year as 8th graders, recognizing you, and then obviously our 8th graders in your high school career. And so kudos to all of you and the coaching staff for a great season. Yeah, photo time. So if you all would kind of come to the middle and then turn around face that
This is
way.
gonna be a
We'll have the
challenge.
board come around and we'll see how we can squeeze you all together.
Under my middle center. Yep, all come down in the front. And then here's-
All right, here we go. Up here.
This rope, bend down just a little bit so we can get the guys behind us. There we go.
All right, 1, 2, 3. Thank you. Give me 1 second.
Yep. Karen, you wanna grab a picture? Anybody? Go ahead, get in there. Over here. No. Thank you. Thank you, guys. Building our future program for you guys. Hi. Thank you.
Guys have a good night. Mark, have a good night.
See you guys.
go.
Thank you.
All right. Shuffling in and out here. So I'm excited to introduce our next state team. This is our Harlem Middle School dance team, coached by Coach Brianna. They finished third in their state competition pretty recently, and so I'm turning over to Coach, like we just did, to talk a little about the season, and then I'll let them introduce themselves.
I'm Coach Bree. This is my 2.5 year teaching as a head coach for the Harlem Middle School dance team, and I just am so extremely proud of these girls. They've worked so hard. We placed first at our first competition, then we placed second at our second competition, and so then we finally placed third, and they had some tough competition, so they worked really, really hard this year. We are missing a couple of our ladies tonight. They had a prior engagement this evening, but I would like to introduce some of my other girls, so go ahead.
Hi, my name is Jordan, and I'm in 8th grade, and I've been dancing for 2 years. I'm Katie. I'm a 7th grader. This is my first year on the team, and I've been dancing since high school. Hi, I'm Liz Swanson. I'm an 8th grader, and I've been dancing for 10 years. Hi, I'm Bella Thompson. This is my second year on the team, and I'm in 8th grade, and I've been dancing since I was 12. I'm Maddie Jameson. I'm in 7th grade, and I've been dancing since I was 3. Hi, I'm Sunny Shields. I've been on the team for 1 year. I'm in 8th grade, and I've been dancing since I was 2. Hi, I'm Lena Allen, and I'm in 7th grade, and I've been dancing since I was 3. This is my first year on the team.
I know I've been dancing since I was 2. Congratulations to all of you on a great season. We're excited to see you back as well, either as 8th graders or in your high school career. And so, great job in the season. Kudos to you as well, Coach. And so, on behalf of all of us, I think we've clapped a couple times, and we'll clap again. Congratulations. So if you all would stand in the middle and face that way, that'd be great. Families, you can come around, so we'll take a photo with the board, and then you all, if you want to look at the board, you can do that.
Oh, yeah.
All right, so you go 1, 2, 3. Get out of there real quick. Great job, everybody. All right, so this is obviously a great evening. We've got a lot of recognition, and a lot of thank yous to be doing. This is a fun way to start a board meeting. So I've got a few individuals here that we want to recognize and show our appreciation for. Deputy Chief Stanley is here with us. It's a familiar face to many of you. She oversees the Shop of the Cop event that we do each December, as well as our Fill the Bus event, which is a great donation drive that really supports our families and our community. And so we want to say thank you, obviously, on behalf of the district for all the work that they put in to putting this event on. It is a lot of fun to see the kids shopping with the officers and the explorers and getting a chance to pick out items for themselves at Target and Meijer. And so this year we were able to offer, I shouldn't say they were able to offer 94, I think it was 94. I double checked today.
It goes together, I have.
Okay, 94 spots. And so we were able to take 94 kids shopping, both at, like I said, at Target and Meijer. And so that is a testament to all the work that Tammy puts in to raise that money and to get donations and all that type of stuff. It's a lot of work to put on an event like that to support our students and families. So, Deputy Chief Stanley, I'll let you say a few things, and then we'll introduce our explorers that are here.
Yeah, our explorers, I try to bring someone different every year. Our explorers really helped us this year. They hustled. Was it cold out this year? I can't remember. I'm inside all the time, so. They hustled with that bus, getting things in. Each year that bus just keeps piling up on those seats. So they were hustling with that, getting donations from outside, going in to shop with the families, shopping with the donations and running them back out, coming back in, running back out. So they were hustling this year, so that's why I brought them, the three of them here. So they're the ones that deserve it. I just stand around and give the gift cards out. So they do the work. So.
Can I have you all introduce yourselves?
Yeah. My name's Riley. I've been on the Police Explorers for almost a year, and I'm in 9th grade. So.
I'm Alexander Butina. This is my first year as a Sheriff Explorer, and I'm a freshman in the Harlem High Schools.
I'm Zachariah Willis. I'm in 10th grade. This is my 3rd year.
The Explorer program is an awesome program. Obviously, there's a few other individuals. I don't remember how many exactly that you have in the program, but
I think, I don't know, last how many we have so far?
We usually have around 16 or so.
16 kids that are part of the Explorer program. So a great program. Again, we want to thank them for their support of our students and families. I do want to, she wasn't able to attend tonight, but one of our bus drivers, Beverly, is like the reason that bus gets filled up. If you've ever been by there, when we do the bus drive, she is out in this elf costume, dancing around, like if you can't walk by her without engaging with her. So she does a fantastic job supporting the event as well. She actually has her sister come up from St. Louis each year to do this event with her. We use the bus that we use in the parade, so it's decorated. And so I just want to special kudos to her as well for all the time that she puts in on that weekend. So again, on behalf of the board and the school district, thank you all for your service and support of our families. One more close. I'm going to have you all just turn your face that way. Just like board members can roll.
Oh, I'm sorry. Sorry.
There we go. We're good. All right, 1, 2, 3.
Like it was smiling, so I could not make a retort.
One more, please.
Thank you all very much.
Thank you.
Appreciate it. Thank you.
Bye bye. No.
Oh, it was well played.
All right, so I have one more recognition.
This
We're
is
just
awesome.
gonna do this because we were gonna have our Christmas for Kids people last meeting, and something came up, and then again, not for personal reasons, they were not able to attend this evening, but I did let them know, obviously, how grateful we are for the work that they do each year. This is, I think, the 11th year that they've had this event, and this was our, I should say, best year ever, but we were able to offer the most shopping spots that we ever have. And that's a big thank you to Mike and the Rascal staff for the benefit that they help host, to Millie Smith, Luke, and Jamie Meyer, who are the Christmas for Kids people, to put this together. This year, we were able to invite 300 kids shopping. That's 50 more than we've ever been able to do. And that's, again, because of all the work that they put in. I also want to thank for Shop with a Cop and for Christmas for Kids, all of our social workers in our buildings. They're the ones that help select families, they interact with families, they coordinate the scheduling, getting them there. And so I do want to say to our social workers, thank you to them for all the work that they put in behind the scenes to get our families connected and make sure that their kids can participate in this program. But kudos to the Christmas for Kids people as well. They just do, it's a lot to put on benefits, it's a lot to raise this money. And you think about raising, essentially $30,000 because every kid got $100, and we were able to buy 300. We had about 260 that showed up. Some families were not able to attend, but it's a pretty cool thing. It's fun to see that. So thank you to Mike, and thank you to Luke and Jay Meyer and Lily Smith for all their hard work in putting that together. So thank you.
Thank you, sir.
Unless you want to do a photo.
I'm gonna have to stand up and everybody stands around me.
It's just a selfie though, that's just it.
All right, thank you, Dr. Boone.
That was cool.
All right, now I gotta find out where I'm gonna do it. Are there any comments from the community? None? Okay. Moving it over to the most exciting, riveting part of the night, approval of the bills.
It's too bad everyone laughed. All right, total payables this period were $1,695,449.65. There were void checks of $3,012.70. There were two payrolls this period for a total amount of $6,647,575.34. For total expenditures of $8,343,024.99. Split out by fund, the education fund paid $7,053,522.09. The tort fund paid $6,201.63. The operations and maintenance fund paid $567,339.56. The transportation fund paid $376,606.63. The IMRF Social Security Fund paid $231,160.69. And the Capital Projects Fund paid $108,194.39. Again, for total expenditures of $8,343,024.99. Are there any unanswered vote questions?
No.
Can I get a motion and a second for approval of the bills?
Motion.
Second. Mrs. Ranieri?
Aye.
Mr. Smith?
Yes.
Mrs. Meeks? Aye. Mr. Sterling?
Aye.
Mr. Thompson?
Aye.
Mrs. Brogan? Aye. Oh, Mrs. Ranieri?
She said yes.
All right. Moving on to communications and committee reports. Our next regular board meeting will be February 27th, 2023 at 6 p.m. I would like to thank Mrs. Tammy Poole and Mrs. Nass the job application and interview. I think those are life skills that teaching the kids, it's awesome. That's the whole process that they're doing, that you guys are doing, instituting. Those are amazing things that kids normally in 5th grade aren't doing. So you're setting them up for success. Thank you. So many of the coaches, Coach Schaefer, Coach Rachel, and the assistant Bree, that was just for the cheer team. I want to say, awesome job. You can see with the sheer numbers, being able to teach all those girls and boys. And to place so high, second in the state, and just, we have a good base to build it from, so thank you guys. I got to see my niece on the dance team, and obviously you saw my little niece, she came in. That was good to see. Third in state for them, that was the dance team. So we get two amazing teams that are gonna be the future of Harlem going forward. I wanna say thank you out there to W Chief for the Explorer program and the Shop with the Cop. Every year, they're out there doing the work to help these families. I mean, not only serving the community as an officer, but taking your time to do extra to serve another, 94 families, 94 kids. That's really commendable. I just want to say thank you. And to have the Explorer program, to see those kids that are getting some real life experiences, and just to see some other things to spark their interest. It's really commendable. I do want to thank Luke and Jane Meyer and obviously Millie. I mean, so many hours going to raising, talking, fundraising, just trying to build these events to make it better and reach more families. So we did 260 kids this year, but all the monies that'll be left over, we take to Walter Lawson, the women's home in Rockford. So it doesn't stop just with the kids in the community, it reaches out. So I just want to say thank you to them for all their time. With that, I'm going to be doing Jill's part. She's not here tonight, so for the next policy committee meeting, that'll be February 21st, 2023 at 6 p.m. That is my report.
Did you do the regular board meeting?
Yeah.
Okay.
I started with that.
All right.
I would have missed it.
Don't call up my listening skills. All right.
Evelyn Meeks.
Okay, good evening, everyone. Mrs. Pula, and I want to thank you for bringing the Maple students out this evening. They did an amazing job. It's just really nice to be able to see the students in person again instead of on the little screen. So. And then also, I want to say thank you to the Shop with the Cop and the Explorers and the Kids for Christmas, for those people that are in that group. I just want to say thank you for your compassion and the hard work and your just, showing the community love, especially people that don't have and they want, but they can't, give. But for you guys to take the time to be out raising money and putting the effort in to try to make sure people can have an enjoyable Christmas, because it's really hard trying to raise money. And for the different organizations that are donating and the different businesses, like Mike's businesses that do have events there, that just goes to show that this district is a district that truly does care about the community, and it's just nice to to see that being done. Then also, I want to say congratulations to the middle school, the Junior Huskies, for placing second in the state. That is amazing. There's a lot. People just don't realize that cheerleading is hard, and it's a sport, and now it's starting to get the recognition it deserves to be considered a sport. I know when my daughter was in school, it wasn't considered a sport, but those girls go above and beyond, the flips, the splits, the herkies, you name it. It's a lot of hard work. So to play second in the state, that is awesome, and especially to be as young as her. So I know, like Mike has stated, we will be having a good group of girls coming up. Also dancing, that's a lot of hard work too. And it depends on what type of dance you take. People just don't realize, you can play it off, but your legs, your feet, your back, your arms and everything hurts, but to play third, that's an amazing job too. So I'm looking forward to the future on our dance teams and our cheerleaders. I think we're going to have some amazing ones. And then also I attended the Junior Husky Showcase, and the McChesney Park girls won. And that team, oh my gosh, they were right on point. So they're going to really be, they look like little professional. I was looking at the Dallas Mini Cowboy cheerleaders. They were really good. I mean, it's just awesome to see people that, that take time and dedication to come out and help our students to be able to succeed in life and to give them something to look forward to. So, and I mean, they have one of the teams in the showcase this weekend. I think it was, can't remember, but that was like probably 60-something girls on that squad. I mean, wow. So that was amazing, really nice. Is there something else I'm forgetting? Oh yeah, and I also attended the All-Star. And it was nice seeing the little boys playing basketball, the different stars. I guess they picked 2 from each school. It was nice attending that and seeing the respect and stuff that they showed toward each other. So I'm looking forward to seeing them as they move along in the school. But I think Harlem has a good future ahead. We have some really nice kids that are determined and dedicated, and we have some amazing coaches and parents and students that are taking time to make sure our students guide them in the right direction, because kids really need something to make them stay focused. And if you can take the time to just help them, and even if they might not succeed, maybe guide them in another direction, because everybody can't be on the same thing. It might be something else that you might be better in than thinking you might want to do a certain thing. So if we can just take our time to try to guide them in the right direction, that way they won't end up doing something different. But thank you to everyone that's taking the time out, making sure our students are being guided in the right direction. I truly do appreciate each and every one of you. And what else do I have to say? Oh, I thank all the coaches for your hard work too. I think I said that. And then also the next equity meeting will be on my birthday, February 23rd.
What a present.
At 6 o'clock at the high school. And that's all I have to report. Thanks each and every one of you. That's it.
Kurt Thompson.
Yeah, oh, wow. As always, thank you, Evelyn, for covering all the bases so well there. You as well, Mike. Thanks to Mrs. Poole for bringing students in. I also love that every time people are coming in, students are coming in to sing the pledge, there's such different reasons, and all different great ones there. The Library Leaders is a very cool program, so thank you for them. Man, such great coaching staff. The students, for everything they're doing, I can't say it as great as Evelyn has covered on all those, but you just have to really look to all the pride and hard work that everyone's doing, and to the parents, right? Like, it's not easy putting in all the time and taking through all the practices and going to state and everything along that goes with that. So that is great for everyone there. And wow, between Christmas and Kids and Shop with a Cop, up to almost 400 students to have such a meaningful holiday, and having that, all the work that goes into that, that's just huge, and great that it gets bigger every year when it comes to that too. What else am I missing here? What might not have been covered? I was thankful enough and to actually find a spot to go to McChesney's winter concert last weekend, and wow, not a place to sit, very accommodating. I really have to go out to Mrs. Edwards and the entire music staff to move everyone around, find a spot to make sure that all the parents, the grandparents, the family, everyone could come and enjoy that show. And to the students that did a great singing event last Thursday there. Let's see. Good luck to the girls that are going to be bowling at state. I don't think anyone mentioned that one, so good for that one coming up here. And what was the other one I saw? Ms. Sue from Windsor, 26 years as a crossing guard. That is absolutely amazing. So I'm glad you got a little recognition there. I hope even more. That takes a lot of dedication, and it's easy to overlook something that's so important. So I just wanted to call out it as well. Let's see here. Business services. Thanks for everyone coming out. We had people here. It was great. It helps have some of the conversations. There's some items that come up, and it's nice to have the discussion, the debate, the qualifying questions to make sure that when it comes to this very board meeting, that we know going in, or we get additional facts. So when we vote on these here, it comes into play. So if everyone that can continue to come, I love it. I know Josh absolutely loves it. And I think some of our votes today are helped by the discussion and conversation that comes to those meetings. And if you're thinking, man, that sounds really exciting, how do I get on that? Got you covered. That is going to be on March 8th, 6 o'clock, right back here. You can get your chance to see what we're going to be talking about at the board meetings. That concludes my report. Thank you, guys.
It is a fun time.
It really is.
Larry Smith.
Yes.
Yeah, and to just echo, a great job by all of the teams that were represented and all of the teams that weren't represented. The effort that the coaches and the parents put into making a good experience for their students is greatly appreciated. I really like the music that Kurt mentioned. We've got this beautiful art here, music and art. Got that one?
That one?
There.
Yep.
So we've got the music and the art represented, and that's so important. And also what was important, I really loved the Maple group that was here, that they were library assistants, and having a strong library as part of the school system is just so important. So important that we make books available to these young people. Literature, art, and music are the backbones of our society, and I just highly encourage those students to continue with those efforts. I also like to recognize Kim. Man, I know your days are growing short, Kim. You've done a wonderful job for this school district, and we truly appreciate everything that you've done. I would like to mention, I think it is so important that all of the staff for the Harlem School District, all of the parents within the Harlem School District, and anybody that has any contact with young people, both in this district and outside this district, please send the message that it's not okay to hurt other people. It is not okay to hurt other people. So please send that message. We have to be the ones that are setting the standard for all of us to make this a great place for everybody. Thank you. Oh, wait. I know we're in the midst of this holiday season right now with Groundhog's Day just passing, and Valentine's Day almost upon us, but we have to also look forward to those grand days of the Education Committee meeting, which will be coming up March 7th. So March 7th will be the Education Committee right here in this room at 6 o'clock.
Do you have a theme?
Thank you. We have a theme. For March 7th, it's going to be a Shakespearean theme. Mickey's going to dress up as a Shakespearean character.
I don't know that we want that.
It's the eve of business services. They should all dress like Josh.
That's perfect.
I'll take it for both of them. So I got it.
Yeah, I'm just gonna turn it over to Sue.
I will ditto what everybody said. Thank you, Mrs. Poole. Thank you to the Maple students. Congratulations to the middle school cheer, the dance. Not just the coaches and the parents, but the performers themselves. It's not only do they have to do all the tryouts and the hard work and the practices, but they also have to maintain their grade point averages and everything too, which is very important along with the sports. So kudos to them. It's a lot of hard work with all their practices and competitions, and still maintaining their grade point averages. So congratulations, they deserve it. Thank you to Officer and the Deputy Explorers, Luke and Jan Rascals, staff and family. As Larry has said a few times over, that we need to be kind. And I think in the Shop at the Cop and the Christmas for Kids, to be able to do 300 students, 400 students within this district, for that sets the tone that we should all continue to set, of being kind to one another. The only way kids learn is by example, and we have to, as adults, set the example for these kids. Yes. So let's keep up the good work of supporting these great programs, and that ends my report.
Thank you so much. Sharon?
Okay. Well, ditto, thank you, Mrs. Poole and Maple School.
I did attend the All-Star game and also the elementary school competition for cheer was amazing. I love seeing lots of kids participating in extracurricular stuff. I like happy for the cheer and the dance that they're doing good and keeping up their grades at the same time. I like seeing a lot of girls. We're building up the program to bring more successful athletes. I wanted to add something that I wrote down here of a former student that I'd like to read, which was in sports, but also kept up her academics. She was just put in the Rockford Register Star. I don't know if anybody read that, but I just want to say I want to recognize a student athlete of Harlem, Michaela Schmelzer from 2016. While in high school, she was an amazing academic student with honor classes and played 2 sports her whole life, but played 2 sports, basketball and soccer, all 4 years. And then she went on to play 2 Division I sports with full scholarships at UW-Milwaukee. Michaela is the only ever female athlete in this huge surrounding area or area outside of here who has ever played 2 division sports and walked out of college with numerous awards and achievements in both levels. She graduated with an undergraduate in biomedical engineering, which is not, these are not easy classes, biomedical engineering, and her master's in business administration, as well as on the dean's list and high honors. Last July, Michaela signed with a professional contract with soccer and is now playing in Greece right now. This wasn't someone who played 1 but 2 sports, with also carrying very different, challenging academic programs. Harlem should be very proud to have Michaela come out of Harlem and our school district, highly driven to excel in both aspects of her life. And it just shows that with a lot of hard work academically and sports, it puts you in perspective of how successful you can be in your life. So that's just, I just want to recognize her because she's just an amazing person. And I hope in May when she comes back here that we can bring her in and recognize her in front of the board. So that's one of my things. So, and that's about it. So thank you.
Thank you. And it's 4 days, Kim?
4 months.
4 working days. She's just smiling. All right, I'm gonna turn it over to Dr. Michelle.
Thank you. I have 2 items this evening. The first one is our overnight travel. The first overnight I had emailed you guys about as soon as I had received it. We were fortunate to have some wrestlers qualify for sectionals, and that occurred last weekend, so I'm bringing that one forward. With that, we did have someone qualify for state, Miles Babcock, so the wrestling team will need to leave on the 15th and will return on the 19th for wrestling state. Congratulations to him. And then my last overnight travel is for the Key Club Leadership Conference, leaving on March 10th around 1 o'clock and returning on the 12th around 3 o'clock. Are there any questions in regards to those travels? All right, so my second item is the proposed calendar for next year. Tonight I present it to all of you and then we'll ask you to vote at our next meeting. So one of the things that as we worked through the CBA that was, we made some changes is working a little more collaboratively and creating the calendar. With the legal holidays, it really doesn't leave a whole lot of wiggle room as far as what a calendar looks like. Also, we try as hard as we can to balance the 2 semesters because the high school does the finals before. Being someone who taught on both giving the finals prior to and after, I do feel there's a benefit if we can give the finals to our students before winter break. With the construction that's occurring at the high school, we wanted to try to push the start date off a little bit, but try not to make things too lopsided. So looking at all of those different items and trying to put together the calendar, we did propose that the professional development day would be August 17th, And then Teachers Institute being on August 18th. We would have the first day of student attendance be August 21st, and the last day of student attendance being May 29th. So we would still be able to be out of school before June, and could also give a little bit more time with construction. Because of the fact that some of our neighboring school districts have had an opportunity to put their calendars out, we do know that there are some that are spring break and our winter break do align, which if you had an opportunity to read the comments from our staff, it was something that they appreciate. The tricky part is that every school district does theirs differently, so no matter, there's no way you're gonna get everybody on the same calendar unless we ever went as a county and had them on the same. But even with that, we have people who live outside of the county. So, like I said tonight, proposing the attached calendar, and then we'll be asking for approval at our next meeting.
I do appreciate any collaboration that we can have with the other school districts to align those breaks with,
Absolutely.
because it's just so helpful in so many ways, for students and for parents and for staff. It's just so helpful so that collaboration is terrific. I also really appreciated your including those comments with the comments that the people made on the proposed calendar. That was so good, and one of the things that stuck out for me when I was reading through those, how many of them addressed the SIP, your professional development days and your school improvement days, and that there is some question in regards to the number of those, and would encourage us as a district to look at that and say, yeah, maybe we don't need as many. Maybe we can increase the number of student learning days. If staff feel that we can, because every day should be school improvement day. We shouldn't set aside a day and have the kids there. Every day should be school improvement day. So it's something to think about. It's obvious that the people that made the comments are looking at that.
Well, I just love seeing so many comments, but that means a lot of stakeholders involved. And you get to read some things, and you're not always hearing everything, and there new ideas creep up. So, thank you for including that.
Yes.
Right. John Green.
All right, my first item tonight is a recommendation to approve a resolution declaring surplus property at Parker Center, Windsor, and the Tech Department. The second item is a recommendation to approve facility request with Harlem Softball, the Harlem Documentary Crew. Is it still Vet Doc? Because he wrote documentary on there. All right. The Rockford Park District and Rock Valley Mustang Club for the car show. Any questions on my first two items tonight? Next is a recommendation to accept the November and the December treasurer's reports for 2022. This will be the last double month of treasurer's reports. Next is a recommendation to approve an agreement with Hoot Reading for an at-home literacy interventionist program at a cost of $5,695, paid with ESSER 3 homeless funds. Next is a recommendation to approve an agreement with the Wisconsin Center for Education Products and Services for a 2-day workshop that will support multilingual learners in writing in various academic areas at a cost of $8,000, paid with Title II and Title III funds. Next is a recommendation to approve an agreement with Brian Mendler Discipline Associates to provide professional services to Windsor Elementary at a cost of $20,000, paid with Title I funds. And Casey, do you guys have any questions? Casey is here. Oh, you're up.
No, he means me to.
All right, there you go. Sorry.
Hi.
Hi.
So my name is Casey Kaczynski. I'm the principal at Windsor Elementary School. I'm Therese Marinelli, the assistant principal. And we just wanted to come and really just give some why behind why we chose Mr. Mendler and the reason that we're spending this money. I'm sure most of you know that back in 2019, Windsor was targeted, a targeted building from the state report card, and that was based on our chronic absentee rate. So that means any student that missed 18 days or more, which we had a high number of that. So from that, we've been receiving funds from the federal government to support that. And in order to spend that money, you have to align it directly based on what would be improving the reason for why you were targeted to begin with, which is chronic absentee. Over the last couple of years, we've really tried to buy things and purchase things that really hit more of a technical aspect and not really seeing a benefit to that. So we've been really doing some work trying to think of what can we do to make more of an adaptive change in our building? What is going to encourage students to come? What is going to want them to show up to school instead of just buy a product or buy something that would maybe entice them to come? So in our SIP plan that was approved, Priority 4 does focus directly on creating a positive and safe learning environment, and within SIP Priority 4, Strategy 4.1 focuses on building positive relationships with students to directly impact and increase student attendance. So part of our SIP plan that was approved included bringing somebody in to really facilitate and support how do we transform our relationships as building staff and building leaders to encourage more positive relationships and students to then come to school. So that's part of our SIP plan, and why we directly chose Brian Mendler.
I've had an opportunity to attend Brian Mendler, or have him at our schools, and be part of his coaching sessions. So when Casey was speaking about, what do we do, who do we get, how do we approach this, Brian Mendler came to mind for me. He himself was like a defiant, oppositional, he'll describe himself like almost got kicked out of school, got put in special education, and then became a teacher so he could reach the hardest students. That's his story. And so his coaching sessions and things like that, he says, bring us your hardest kids, bring us the problems, right? Like, let's problem solve our students. And we are thinking, with our teachers, we know relationships are the #1 in our buildings, right? We want to create a sense of belonging for our staff and our students. And just thinking about that, his perspective, like he works from multiple perspectives. He was a special education teacher himself. And so thinking about that and having teachers kind of engage with another educator outside of Casey and myself.
I didn't
right?
understand that.
I'm sorry, sir.
You don't get it. Try again.
Can you repeat it, please? Just thinking about his multiple perspectives and how we can connect with our teachers, and in the coaching sessions, and he also has books, right? So my own experience, I've been able to use his strategies, his techniques immediately, myself as an administrator, but I've also seen teachers do it, and I've been able to use it in coaching sessions with teachers, not just our new teachers, which is really impactful, but with some teachers who just say, I'm stuck. I've tried everything. And we've heard that a lot this year. We know that our kids have been through a lot in the last few years, and we're trying to reset, kind of amp things up, and bring our teachers something that's helpful and useful. And I've seen it in action, and I just really believe in Brian Mendler quite a bit, because he's simple, and he's effective. He's worked in tens of thousands of schools, coaching, presenting, and we're really looking forward to, if given the opportunity, not only for him to present to our staff, but then come to our building and work with our staff in a coaching session, everyone having an opportunity to seek his knowledge and his advice, and then you can really immediately use a lot of the strategies that he uses as an educator and when he visits other schools. So, I don't know, am I missing anything, Ms. Cousins?
One of the other things that we looked at is that he did work in a specialized program, special education, and with us having our structured teaching program there, the perspective that he's able to bring with our students that are on the autism spectrum and really connect with our teachers there. Oftentimes, when you have somebody come in that's speaking to from multiple perspectives, it's important that he has that knowledge to be able to speak to them as well. you know, we can stand up there and say the same thing, but if they hear it from somebody that's written a book and travels the country doing it, it sinks in more. So that was important to us as well, that this is his primary focus is all on building relationships, so he's not working from a company that's, you know, involved in lots of different educational aspects. So our hope is that by bringing him that, you know, we will see a more evolved teacher understanding and working with students and building more positive relationships. Some of the things that we've been seeing in the last couple of years, you know, with 380 kids, just being able to have more positive working relationship strategies and skills that we're able to provide our teachers to support our students better.
Thank you.
Okay.
Thank you.
Any questions?
And that includes presentation as well as follow-up?
Yeah, so he will come, if approved, he would be here from the 8 to 1 SIP day where he would be training the whole staff. And then immediately the following day, he would be in our building while students were in attendance and doing coaching sessions with different teams of teachers, as well as provided 2 1-hour or 2 online sessions where we can get back with him, and then as well as both of the books for our entire staff.
And that also includes a book for everybody?
Everybody.
And then you're gonna use that as a,
Moving forward, yeah. Our hope, you know, is that, because we know that we'll have the money coming next year, is our hope is to maybe be able to bring him back or do another coaching session the following year, because we don't want this to be like a one and done thing. We really want this to be an adaptive change process, and knowing that this money is available to us next year as well, but ends after that.
well, you might come back just to see it again.
Probably.
I'm guessing.
Get 2 for 1.
First, I'd just like to say, if every time we had a request, we had that kind of feedback, that would be fantastic. So thank you for the work of doing that. And 2, the reason why we ask that, right? So we look at, and we approve quite a few of these. I try to leave Title I funds to those schools so they can make the best opportunities that they can. But when you see a speaker coming in for $20,000 and there's books involved, and you're like, well, I need to see some more information. So you start asking questions, and those questions come up. Well, here's the deal. He's not on a list to be approved, so we have to take these funds and move them over here and then pay with these. You have to dig a little bit deeper, and that's kind of where this was the request was, you know, hey, is this your, and not saying anything, but when you look at it without having that answer, is going, do you know this person? Why are they not on this list? Is it just the state being the state? So this definitely helped to see where some of those.
Did that list come up?
Huh?
No, it hasn't. We just.
I heard the list did not come out, but he was not on the list, and feel free to correct anything I'm saying, but he was not on the list last year.
Correct.
So they're anticipating him to probably not be on the list this year. I don't know what it takes to get on the list. He should really look into that. That would make my life a lot easier for doing some of the approvals. So it was just, okay, let's see what's going on.
Absolutely.
I was completely unaware that when he came in for the second day, he would be directly with students there, and actually solving direct problems versus, hey, I'm gonna give a lot of good advice, here's some things you might be able to take away, but we may be able to build on some of that. So that definitely answered a lot of the immediate, just kind of, a red flag doesn't mean it's bad, but some of those immediate red flags when you're kind of going through the approval of that in the business services meeting. So thank you.
And quite typically, in order to make the list, you have to be an Illinois company.
Ah, okay.
Just like for professional development, if we send somebody to professional development and it's outside the state, I have to get approval from the state ahead of time to
Where's
use
Brian
funds.
from?
Florida.
Florida, okay. Oh, Tampa.
That's why there's an extra charge to come up north.
Yeah.
You should fly us all down there.
Probably for less than 20 years.
Yeah.
Right out of Rockford.
Yes.
Allegiant.
Are there any other questions on this?
No, thank you so much.
Thank
You
you.
guys did,
Yes.
you hammered it out.
Thank you.
Yes, exactly what we wanted. Thank you.
All right. My next item is a recommendation to approve an agreement with ASM Rockford for the rental of BMO Harris Bank Center on Saturday, May 27th, 2023 for graduation ceremonies at a cost of $3,000 plus labor.
Was there any ballpark on, did we find out what the labor generally is compared to the 3,000?
So last time it was about $5,000.
Okay. I would figure that was gonna be the bigger lift than the rental.
Yep. Any other questions, Kyle? All right, my last item tonight is a recommendation to approve an agreement with Clear that will assist with the residency verification at a cost of $13,550 per year for 3 years. I know Mr. Bloom sent you guys some additional information. So I don't know, you want to come in, Jason? Are there any additional questions above what Jason emailed you guys this morning?
One, so we got it so that we could opt out after the first year, if we don't like it.
Yeah, and so my thought was to actually come back in January,
Please,
discuss
yeah.
that information, have you guys essentially reauthorize it before that time's up.
Yeah, it's specifically a one-time cancellation after 12 months, so we can do it at 24 months if we decide, but ultimately Josh and I discussed coming back at 1 year and getting that lesson again. We'll report out on how effective it was and then go from there.
All right, and then we had questions. Program gets installed, it gives confidence, or, recommendations on
Hey, Mike, what are you going to, since there's some people watching who may not be familiar, do you want to just touch base on Clear in general, what we're talking about?
Sure. This program is gonna it's for students and families that are registering for kids, registering kids for the school year. And this program is gonna allow the district to more readily access open and available information and say, all right, if we get a high flag thing, it would say that, like, your car's registered in Rockford, all your mail goes to Rockford, this, that, and the other, that we gotta do a little bit more deep dive to say, are you really in the Harlem district, or, correct?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Because the follow-up is public information,
Right,
correct?
right.
We're not
So-
like diving into social security
No,
numbers,
no,
we're not
so-
adding to the registration process, this is using things that are out there.
Yeah, so what we've been doing over the past few years is really obviously reevaluating. We've gone from a district-wide registration process to online registration, where we do online for returning families, in person for new. And each year, we're kind of looking at ways to streamline the process. One of our biggest transitions that we made this past year was that we shifted the requirement of residency for all families to families that either have a change of address, had return mail, and so we have return mail on file, if we had a residency concern for, or they had an affidavit, so they were living with a district resident, but they were unable to prove residency themselves. And so what we were trying to do is find a product that will allow us to really just focus in and make this an even more efficient process for our staff, but most importantly for our families. And so really what'll happen is we'll run all of our names through our system, and then we'll set a score or a threshold for that, and then we'll look at what families potentially may not live in the district, and then we'll do further investigation on those families. And so that system will kind of guide us in that versus us just saying, well, you have, you're not an affidavit, so we're just gonna trust that you're here, and we wanna obviously still trust, that we're trustworthy people, but this will just allow us to kind of look at everybody and then really focus our efforts. Because we really, like I said, we've streamlined this process down to a spot where we have like 3 or 4 people that are doing all of our registration and residency instead of what we were doing back before. So this is just a way that will make it more efficient for us, but it'll also help us because we run into the issue sometimes that we even have, a child might say, I don't live there. And that's a really tough conversation for us because our evidence to a family to say, hey, we don't think you live here, is their child. And I don't want our staff to be in that, or I don't want to be in that spot either to put that child in that way. And so this really allows us just to search anytime there's concern, anytime there's return mail, we'll be able to do a one-off search, or we'll do a full batch-wide search, and be able to look at that and have evidence that we can then go to that family and say, based on this, based on the open records that we've searched, we feel like you may not live here, can you give us additional information? And then it takes us kind of out of the mix, so it's not, well, you're just coming after me type of thing. And so I do think that will really serve us well.
Right, to simplify it a little bit more, it was a great job. It gives us more teeth in those conversations. When we're meeting with families and we're having those type of conversations, which are difficult conversations to have, but it gives us a little bit more teeth when we have to make decisions. So, thanks, Jason.
And let's just clarify, because if they don't live within the district, they have to pay tuition fees in order to go to the district, which is a very difficult thing to collect on
Right.
when.
And hopefully the batch upload, we can be ahead of that, rather than, because right now, if you don't move, you're just automatically in, so we can run that batch beforehand and address that possibly before it's December. And because the question had come up, what was the tuition cost in business services, and it's within $250 of the actual annual cost of this, so you're talking about essentially one student.
Okay.
Yeah, so to clarify what Josh is saying, that, you know, so a family, if a student is found to not be living in the district, the cost of that instruction per pupil is the same cost of the product, essentially.
Because financially, it hurts us if the student really doesn't live within the district, as far as our funding and tax dollars
It
and all
also could
that
be
stuff.
taking a seat in a full classroom with someone.
Right.
In the district.
Do we have the examples, right? There was two scenarios that were given. I think Mike had one and Evelyn had one, kind of play devil's advocate against each other. So Mike was, you go through this, you pay this money for this clear program, it goes through and it's all red going, you were definitely not 100%. And they go, nuh-uh, that's wrong. Does that change anything? Do we just spend a lot of money to get the right answer and it's not going to change? We're still going to eat those costs anyways? And then the other side to, the other example was a very specific use case to where all the public information, which this would use, would point to them being out of district, but due to circumstances, they legitimately were supposed to be a Harlem student. And then how do you have that conversation to where this works against those edge cases and what we're trying to target, they're ready for it potentially and they're going to argue it, what is the real benefit? Are we paying $60,000 to know more but not be able to act on it more?
So obviously, to answer the first question, so we have the discretion to determine whether or not somebody is able to attend our schools. And so we would use this system to kind of filter ourselves down and really then to narrow that focus to say, okay, these are the individuals we need to investigate further. Obviously, you know, we're going to give families the chance to provide documentation that would say otherwise. And, you know, we believe that based on what this information is giving us, that is not true, but it allows us to look at that with more scrutiny and say, okay, like, is this evidence that you're providing? Because we've seen our share of fake leases and all of that type of stuff. And so, you know, obviously we want to enter that into, again, from a trusting standpoint, to say like, okay, you know, just show us that and give us information that will help us make a decision. But ultimately we have that discretion to then deny them access at that point. To your second point, it's kind of the same thing that, you know, we're going to look at these as one-off cases, just like we do currently, and say, okay, you know, right now you're flagged because of X, Y, and Z, but we understand that there's also circumstances where you may not have any proof of identity or information that we need that's going to prove that you live with, you know, a parent or something like that. And so we would work with that family to support them in that, because we know that there's circumstances, situations where, you know, a person has to evacuate a building or a home or something like that, move in with a family member, you know, it's August, well, I don't have anything yet. I don't have anything to, you know, and so that's why we have the affidavit process, but we also want to work on that too, to make sure that at a certain point we're getting that information that we need. Cost.
But those circumstances also, we have the McKinney-Vento, homeless program, that kind of stuff. I mean, there's programs that assist the families with that, so it's not like we're trying to, anybody who needs that program or assistance, we're trying to get rid of them.
I'm
But like
just being
what a-
cautious.
No, I know.
Because
But
technology is, it's, when you go digital, it's a lot of on-off, so I
what a
just want
lot
to
of
make sure.
surrounding districts do is they actually have investigators that go out and take pictures in the morning of whether the kids come out and get on the bus at the house and ride the bus to school, or if they pull up in a car. You know, different stuff like that, which is probably just as expensive as, if not more expensive than this.
And more invasive.
Even with this, we would have to still.
We would have to still do some type of an
I just
investigation,
didn't want to
but
spend money and then have some, like, hey, you're flagged, and like I said, that's why we're that confidence, and then they say, no. I do live there, blah, 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 and we spent the money, and all they did was give us that, to still have that same kind of answer to where now we're still paying for investigation, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
So like, that's why I just wanted to make sure, like, if anybody can then narrow it down and save time, now we're talking about saved hours that way, which saved hours is money. I just want to make sure how we're spending that money to make sure that at the end of the day, it's going to be able to be utilized, not like a tool that's a correct all.
And I think that's where that 1 year piece can come
Correct.
into,
Yeah,
so.
I think Kirk kind of touched on it a little bit ago. Yeah, I would want to see like a cost benefit, like, okay, we spent $13,000 for this, and we saved the district $750. Well, I think I'd rather spend the $750 than the $13,500. So, yeah, I'd want to see a cost benefit at the end of this year to see if it really did save the district any money, or if it was just something else that we're paying for, and we still have to do the work anyway, ultimately, and we'll have to do the work ultimately. Are we really gonna save that much money?
But if you put the fear in people, letting them know ahead of time what we plan on doing as far as verifying residency. Because if
But
we do
again-
have, but if we do have people out here, and say like some of our teams make it downstate or something like that, they'll end up getting disqualified. You know, in sports and stuff like that, so it's like, it's a fine line, but I think if we send something out to parents and tell them that the verification has changed, and we have something that's gonna do a more extensive research, making sure your verification is, I think, I don't know, I think it'll be good. I know what you guys are talking about money, but I just hate for students to be getting disqualified when they work so hard to.
Well, it's money and privacy. Like, I think the privacy part is a little bit better, right? When we were going into the business services meeting, we didn't know what the secret sauce was, and that could have gone two ways. One, is it diving into information that we should not be diving into for the public? Doesn't sound like that. And two, is it too general to where this is just on a website and we could pull it for not $13,000 a year? So those are part of the concerns. I think some of that's being addressed. And then it goes to your point, right? Like, this then starts to become a tool that we can use to save from some of that, right?
Especially with the new tech center coming up, and then the different playgrounds that we're, having installed at the different schools, we gotta be careful, because that can keep some of our students that are in this district from, having a hard time. But I think when you put the fear, let them know what we're doing, and we're getting more advanced in verification, and not, like you said, getting into people's privacy, but just to let them know that we're concerned, and we want our students that live in this district to get a good education, to be able to enjoy what we have coming in store for them, instead of somebody living way in Rockford or Hononegah or Belvedere, and they're coming here through the week, living with somebody, then going home on the weekend and coming back, and then, but people talk and people tell too, so. But we have to be, it's like a fine, we have to be extra careful, so if we have something that can help, and I understand what you say about money, but sometimes we have to do what we have to do to.
I did run this contract by council and talk to them about the different points that they're looking at, and they were good with that piece.
What I would look for, and we can do this before that year comes up, was I would like in the next month to 2 months, to give you some time, let's get the metrics of what we're gonna use coming up. So from this past school year, if you wanna go back one, just go, this is the total number of students that registered, here are the ones that were removed, here's the ones that were iffy and we don't know. I don't need just numbers, right? Just so we can go, okay, this is, I always bring up the term watermark, but this is our watermark.
Baseline, yeah.
So when we come back and we do this next year, we don't have to pull from those, we know that right now we're gonna,
Well, I guess-
we can look and go,
That's a good question.
there's 2 people or there's 2,000, like, I can't accurately, we may know that, but I don't see that currently.
What, I don't need an accurate number, just your experience over the years. How many kids, or how many would this affect a year on average?
So from Clear's perspective, on average, with all the districts they work with, their initial verification verifies about 90% of your addresses. And so then you have to do further investigation on the remaining 10%. For us, this year, going into our next school year, we have 180 families that have returned mail. So those 180 families will be required residency. Obviously, we're going to see how that matches up with this system if it's approved. And we have 333 families on affidavits. And so we anticipate, not that all 180, because some of them may have just moved within district and they haven't told us they moved, and that happens. And so, but based on that number of having 180 that we have returned mail, and then in addition to that 180, which I don't know the number, we have concerns that we've flagged where a principal or somebody's notified us and said, hey, there's a concern about this, where the student lives, and so we have those flagged as well. So that's probably in the 200 range between the return mail and those that are flagged.
I have a dumb question on that 180 number. So you say return mail, and that's a pretty good metric, but, so that return mail, do we then check, it sounds, again, dumb question, that they're still students? Because if you get return mails because they've actually moved and they're no longer a student, that would then artificially inflate your number.
They
Right?
understand what you're saying, but so that would be like when we mail a report card home.
Oh, specifically a report card. I guess my better question is, what determines
We don't
the mail to
a
be
lot
returned?
in the
Okay.
district anymore, and so the mailed things are gonna be things that are recent, current, you know, like I said, report cards are. anything
To something that would go here, okay.
Yeah.
That, just making sure those things are too
Financial
tied
statement or
together.
Something like that, but it would be.
All right,
it
but
would
out
be our
of,
current students.
out of that 200 number, arbitrate, how many of those kids are found to not be students, or not should be eligible students?
I don't know yet, until we.
No, but like I say, this is not a new problem, we had it last year,
Right,
the year before,
right,
the year
right.
before, so that's what I'm saying, like, on an average, do we find?
We have a couple each year that we really kind of go fully through the process with, but it's hard because we've, up to this year, with the example of like affidavits, we haven't required the family that has the student, that's enrolling student, to provide any sort of information in their name. It's always just been the district resident. And so that situation's caught a few this year by starting to require that families provide that information. I would say that, you know,
Just
it's
a
hard.
just a guess.
I don't know off the top of my head how many it is, because the residency verification process is challenging, like, and then we put a lot on our staff to try and navigate lease agreements and all this documentation to determine whether or not we believe it's accurate. So we're really, when Josh's office gets involved and supports us, we've got multiple pieces of evidence now that are saying, you know, somebody's reported it, we've got return mail, we've got a few different things that are happening, or we have a lease that really does not look, I mean, we can see the whiteout on it, like that type of thing. You know, but we're asking our staff to really be investigators in each of those situations, so.
I'll throw out a number. On the affidavit piece, I'd say at least 5%.
Okay.
And that's just an estimate, but at least, is that fair? I mean, the affidavit piece is, if someone wants to try and come here and they don't have the document, that's the document that they use. A lot of them are valid, but there's, Chris, what do you think?
And Josh, how many phone calls would you say you and I have gotten this year alone, just
Yeah.
from?
Emails and phone calls, yeah. Yeah, there's always a handful, and I think this will help that a lot.
Okay. Thank you.
Yeah, thank you.
Are there any other questions on those?
No, like I said, if we can put together some sort of just matrix shortly, so we have that set, we can review that, and then we can review it when it comes to almost a term.
We'll be able to give you, but we'll be able to give you an initial report. If we do approve the products, we'll run a batch report. It takes about 3 hours to run all of the names and addresses through our system. So we'll get an initial report pretty quickly, but we'll have to wait really through August to essentially allow families in that time, for all those people that we target to say, okay, you know, if we need residency from you for this year's registration, we'll need to give them time to be able to actually provide that residency for us. So we'll be able to have to kind of do it in phases, but ultimately by the start of the school year, we're gonna be able to give you the full scope of everything, but we'll have some times there where we'll be able to.
And I'm less concerned with the product out of the gate. I think making sure this is what we're measuring against, and then this is how it's been either previous year would be helpful. To run that against the software right away, just to get an idea, is even better. But yeah, just making sure we're going in with the right information.
All right. Moving on to Dr. Shelley Wagner.
Good evening. Tonight I have the recommendation to approve the personnel agenda and addendum. There are 4 transfers tonight, 2 leaves of absence, 8 employments, 12 resignations, 2 requests from the Federation Bank for certified staff, and 2 requests from the Federation Bank for classified staff. On the addendum, you'll see that one is just a correction to one of those requests for the Federation Bank. There's also a request for new positions tonight. 5 paras and 1 teacher at Loves Park. The teacher at Loves Park is for next school year because of an increase in the number of life skills students we'll have at Loves Park. So that's for next year, so they're coming up
Okay.
from Parker. For the paraeducators, they're in a variety of buildings, and these are all for students who are either newly qualified in some way, under IDEA, or if they have moved in and they have an IEP, that's coming with them. And that's it.
Larry, you ready? You still have that question, correct?
Yes.
All right. I need a motion and a second to go into closed session for employment of personnel 5 ILCS 120-2C1. Motion?
Second.
Mrs. Speaks, aye. Mr. Sterling?
Aye.
Mr. Thompson?
Aye.
Mrs. Broden?
Aye.
Mrs. Ranieri?
Aye.
Mr. Smith?
Yes.
All right, we're gonna be going right into close. Dr. Whaler, could you stay?
Yes.
All right.
Yeah.
Roy Yarborough.
All right, well, thank you, everyone, and welcome back. So before I go into the equity report, I'm gonna read the FOIA request that we have here, because it's a few of them, quite a few. So the first one, Freedom of Information Act request, submitted 1/19/23 from Smart Procure, requesting purchasing records from 10/19/22 through the current, and the district response dated January 26th of 2023. The second one is request submitted by Bo Kim of Union Bids on January 24th, 2023, requesting bid and tabulation results for 1/18/23 bids for precast concrete for the Harlem High School CTE addition and the Rock Cut Elementary Gymnasium, and the district's response dated 1/30/23 denying said request. The reason why we denied that request is we're still in that process, which is why we would deny a request like that. If we had approved that already, then we would not have denied that request. The next one is dated January 26, 2023, submitted by Illinois retired teachers requesting information on 2023 retirees, and the district's response dated January 31st of 2023. Another one, we've been pretty busy here with these, January 26, 2023, from Laura Usada of Coca-Cola, requesting information regarding a beverage agreement, and a district response dated February 1st, 2023. And then the last one we have is from Local Labs, requesting teacher information. The district's 5-day extension request sent on January 31st, 2023, and a response due on February 9th, 2023. The district subsequently submitted its response on February 7th, 2023. Those are the FOIAs. Mr. Smith, you said something about Coca-Cola.
Yeah, so what was our response? What was their offer and what was our response?
Ms. Chris?
I would have to look, but we
Yeah.
typically don't.
Yeah, we don't.
If we deny, we state we deny, but otherwise we usually comply with the request.
Do we have a contract with Pepsi?
You want me to look at it?
We have one with Pepsi.
So is Coca-Cola like making an offer?
Yeah.
Yeah, they probably, more than likely, they wanted to try to get in on the Pepsi deal that we have.
Ah.
And we're still working through even our Pepsi contract and renewing that. And so that's probably what they're trying to do.
Cause it just seems like Josh said early on
You can see
that,
which way you're leaning.
Yeah,
that Coke.
yeah. No,
you got the
you
right
got
one.
Coca-Cola, right?
Oh, yeah, but it just seems like Josh had said early on that Coca-Cola had not made,
We
any
haven't-
kind of offers.
We haven't met with them. So what they're requesting though, I think they're trying to figure out
It's worth their time.
what we're doing
Right.
with Pepsi.
What we're currently doing.
Yeah. And, yeah.
We gave them a copy of our
If
most
they-
recent signed
You got
agreement,
Dr. Pepper right over there?
and that's what we sent that to them. So that was our response, was to send that signed agreement that we already have in place, the most recent beverage agreement. And this is for commercial purposes that they're, and then Josh also, yeah.
Yeah, because
That
we
was it.
haven't
Oh, I'm
met
looking.
with Coca-Cola, if that's a question that you
Right.
Well,
have.
yeah, I hope they do, because I mean, we gotta remember what happened back in the 80s, what Coca-Cola did in regards to South Africa and apartheid. Coca-Cola had a huge hand in making those huge changes there. And when other people, Pepsi-Cola wasn't there, but Coca-Cola was, and Coca-Cola stood up against that.
Hey,
Okay.
make them compete against each other, let's get lower bids, save money.
Well, the contract that we entered into was signed back on, was good until December of '22. So what we're doing right now is,
Yeah.
we're in the process of getting a different contract.
So maybe they will make
I hope they
an
do,
offer.
I hope they do.
Okay.
You'll see it at a business services meeting coming towards you. All right.
All right, let me try to bring it back. Equity report, one of the things that I want to start doing, and obviously with Mrs. Meek's approval, is to kind of bring to our board meetings just a quick glimpse into our Equity and Social Justice Committee meetings and what goes on there, right? Because I feel that a lot of our work that our equity teams are doing is really great work, but it's only seen within the buildings sometimes. And so this particular quick glimpse is from Parker Center. I thought that Parker Center principal and librarian did a really good job of talking about belonging, right? And what they do to make sure that all of our kids feel like they belong at Parker Center, right? And we talk about, I've heard it, tonight about being nice to one another and building relationships and being positive, right? And how do we do those things? We do those things by making every one of our students feel like they belong. And when we talk about our equity work, and we get asked this question a lot, like, who benefits from our equity work in Harlem School District? And the answer is always all of our kids, right? All of our staff, everyone is a part of it, benefits from our equity work. So I wanted to show you this real quick. And so Jason, if you could, let's see where you're at right now, honoring different languages. Next slide. So we have here, and I'm jumping here because I'm gonna follow this. So when we talk about honoring different languages, can you go back real quick?
Yeah.
So some of the things I wanna make sure that I emphasize here is all classrooms have students with a home language different than English, have welcome in their home language posted outside of their classroom. So I thought that was cool. Okay, next slide please. This slide that you're seeing right now, within our library at Parker Center, we have 15 languages recently received a grant for the purchase of Braille books. Books with a pink sticker are in the multiple language in English so that any student can check it out. I thought that's just awesome, right? I mean, we're making sure that all of our kids, again, feel like they belong.
So can I add?
Yep, absolutely.
So they, and what's cool as well is that the staff is interacting with the families to ensure that it's the appropriate text, to make sure that when they have these books offered in various languages, that's the appropriate dialect and everything and so the families have been, have really received this well, because they've been reached out to, they've been, making sure that the text really is aligned to the language that they're speaking at home.
Okay. All right, so this one right here, each classroom selected a country to learn about during Hispanic Heritage Month, was very inspirational to the school. Obviously, this is the month that we're in Black History Month, and they were gonna do the same thing, so that's awesome. All right, with this particular one here, again, this is just giving you an idea of outside of teachers' classrooms and what it looks like, and trying to, make sure that our kids feel like they belong. Okay. And then to end this one right here, so again, each one of our schools has an equity team, and so with Parker Center, they had a theme for each month. So September is Alma, which is my wife's name, by the way, and how she got her name. October, your name is a song. November, our favorite day of the year. December, Evelyn Del Rey is moving away. January, Hair Twins, and then February, All Because You Matter. And so again, just bringing a short glimpse of just how our Equity and Social Justice Committee meetings are going, but also too, giving our community some specific examples of the work that is going on. So Evelyn, thank you for allowing me to present that information. And if you're, like Evelyn says, if you ever want to join us at our Equity and Social Justice Committee meetings, and the next one is going to be your birthday, come on in.
Hopefully it won't snow, there's always a big snowstorm on it. So hopefully it won't.
So thank you for Parker Center for, again, too, that presentation and allowing us to present that. And like I said, I'm going to try to do that at each one of our board meetings moving forward after an Equity and Social Justice meeting, where I can bring us a short glimpse of some of the things that we talked about.
Thank you.
Yeah.
Okay. Awesome.
And that ends my report.
All right. Moving on to the consent agenda. We get a motion and a second to approve personal agenda and addendum.
Motion.
Second.
Mr. Smith?
Yes.
Mrs. Meeks? Aye. Mr. Sterling?
Aye.
Mr. Thompson?
Yes.
Mrs. Brogan?
Aye.
Mrs. Ranieri?
Aye.
Motion, can I get a motion to approve student travel requests?
Motion.
Second.
Mrs. Meeks? Aye. Mr. Sterling?
Aye.
Mr. Thompson?
Aye.
Mrs. Brogan?
Aye.
Mrs. Ranieri?
Aye.
Mr. Smith?
Yes.
Can I get a motion to approve facility requests?
Motion.
Second.
Mr. Sterling?
Aye.
Mr. Thompson?
Aye.
Mrs. Brogan?
Aye.
Mrs. Ranieri?
Aye.
Mr. Smith?
Yes.
Mrs. Meeks? Aye.
Can I get a motion to approve resolution declaring surplus property?
Motion.
Second.
Mr. Thompson?
Aye.
Mrs. Brogan?
Aye.
Mrs. Ranieri?
Aye.
Mr. Smith?
Yes.
Mrs. Meeks? Aye. Mr. Sterling?
Aye. Can I get a motion to approve acceptance of November and December 2022 treasury reports?
Motion.
Second.
Good read there, by the way.
Mrs. Brogan?
Aye.
Mrs. Ranieri?
Aye.
Mr. Smith?
Yes.
Mrs. Meeks? Aye. Mr. Sterling?
Aye.
Mr. Thompson?
Aye.
All right. Can I get a motion and a second to approve an agreement with Hoot Reading for Ant Home Literacy Interventionist Program at a cost of $5,695, paid with ESSER 3 homeless funds?
Motion.
Second.
Mrs. Ranieri?
Aye.
Mr. Smith?
Yes.
Mrs. Meeks? Aye. Mr. Sterling?
Aye.
Mr. Thompson?
Aye.
Mrs. Brogan?
Aye.
Can I get a motion to approve an agreement with Wisconsin Center for Education Products and Services for a 2-day workshop that will support multilingual learners in writing in various academic areas at a cost of $8,000, paid with Title II and III funds?
Motion.
Second.
Mr. Smith?
Yes.
Mrs. Meeks? Aye. Mr. Sterling?
Aye.
Mr. Thompson?
Aye.
Mrs. Brogan?
Aye.
Mrs. Ranieri?
Aye.
All right, can I get a motion to approve an agreement with Brian Mendler Discipline Associates to provide professional services to Windsor Elementary at a cost of $20,000, paid with Title I funds?
Motion.
Second.
Mrs. Meeks? Aye. Mr. Sterling?
Aye.
Mr. Thompson?
Aye.
Mrs. Brogan?
Aye.
Mrs. Ranieri?
Aye.
Mr. Smith?
Yes.
Easy one. Can I get a motion to approve an agreement with ASM Bradford for the rental of the BMO Harris Bank Center on Saturday, May 27, 2023, for graduation ceremonies at a cost of $3,000 plus labor costs?
Motion.
Second.
Mr. Sterling?
Gladly, aye.
Mr. Thompson?
Aye.
Mrs. Brogan?
Aye.
Mrs. Ranieri?
Aye.
Mr. Smith?
Yes.
Mrs. Meeks? Aye.
Last. Can I get a motion to approve an agreement with CLEAR that will assist with residency verification at a cost of $13,550 a year for 3 years with a 12-month opt-out?
No. I thought it was not for 3 years.
It's a 12-month out, 12-month opt-out.
12-month opt-out. Okay.
We had-
Yeah, that's what I thought.
But it was our 3-year contract, they're gonna allow us to opt out after 12 months. I'm just gonna read that way, so it's right into the minutes that way.
First, anybody first?
Mr. Thompson?
No.
Motion.
First.
Oh, motion.
Thompson, second.
Aye. Mr. Thompson?
Yes.
Mrs. Brogan?
Aye.
Mrs. Ranieri?
Aye.
Mr. Smith?
Yes.
Mrs. Meeks? Aye. Mr. Sterling?
Aye. All right, any announcements or discussion for anybody?
Nope.
All right.
It's my wife's birthday, Wednesday. So it's Valentine's Day, then her birthday.
You better already have the
There
And
gift.
then the Daytona 500.
Well, hey, you better get the gift or you're gonna be racing in the 500.
Yeah.
You already took care of it?
Oh, yeah. It started today, as a matter of fact.
Good thing the board meeting was
All
today.
right, can I get a motion and a second to go back into closed session for employment of personnel, 5 ILCS 120-2C1 and 5 ILCS 120-2C11 for pending litigation, and then lastly, security procedures 5 ILCS 120-2C8.
Motion.
And
Nope.
discussion of lawfully closed minutes 5 ILCS 120-2C21. Always in a.
Always. Motion.
Second.
Mr. Sterling?
Aye.
Mr. Thompson?
Aye.
Mrs. Brogan?
Aye.
Mrs. Ranieri?
Aye.
Mr. Smith?
Yes.
Mrs. Meeks? Aye.
All right,